Good morning. Good morning. It is Monday morning. It is October the 21st. Rise and shine. How are you? I'm Wesh 2 First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week-ish, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, hopefully getting your day started off on the right note. It is beautiful across Central Florida. I hope whatever if it's work, if it's school, if it's dilly-dallying around, you get a chance to enjoy some of this weather. Here is a live look outside. There's Marion County, Ocala. Oh, it's beautiful here, isn't it? Yeah, I figured we'll go a different direction. We'll start north and west and then kind of trek back through. So Tavares would be our next stop on our little Central Florida tour. How pretty is that? A little bit of a breeze. Lake Dora's up, man. Really can see that there, right? All right, continuing on to the tourist district we go. Peeking in. Give me a second. I got to take a sip of coffee while the computer goes and opens up that RTSP feed. Make this a little bit warmer here. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Are you not going to work? You're not going to work? Let me try and reload it. I'll sit and I'll wait. It's a Monday morning. World Center Tower Camp. All right, you don't want to work? Fine. Forget about it. We'll move on. Orlando International Airport. You're working. All right. Clear skies. It's so pretty outside, isn't it? All right, let's go to downtown Orlando. This is our Lake Eola Tower Cam looking back over to I-4. And wouldn't you know, I-4 is not looking too bad. Wesh 2 Studios Tower Cam looking at I-4. Not too bad. Let's head over to another Orlando. They're all looking at I-4. What's the deal, Megan Mackey? You taking all my tower cams? All right, let's head over to the beach, shall we? New Smyrna Beach, see what's doing. That's a good shot. That's a gorgeous shot. Vehicle Assembly Building, Kennedy Space Center. Looking good. Kind of wish I was there watching the launch today. Port Canaveral. Let's see how you are. Last stop, and then we can move on. Is that Utopia? Yeah. All right. Our live shot from Rusty's over at the port. All right. First warning, live Doppler radar has had a few showers around this morning. Not perfectly dry. Not too bad, but there are a few showers. So let's zoom in here right on the Flagler-Volusia County border near Flagler Beach. There's Hummingbird Road, kind of crossing 95, Seminole Woods Boulevard, eventually getting over to 304 and State Highway 11. Also here near Ormond Beach, kind of working right along 40 out past the airport there. But that's about it, at least ashore. Had some sprinkles around Geneva earlier. You can see a couple other sprinkles out near New Smyrna Beach. It's a fine morning. Feels great outside. Upper 60s in Orlando, where it's 63 in the Villages, 60 degrees in Ocala. Along the shoreline, 70s because breeze. And that breeze is going to continue today, running 5, 10, 15 miles an hour, gusting to 20. That'll be fun. 10, 20% coverage of a few passing showers. Really doesn't look like a bad day. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. Today, I'm on a personal level. It's my Sunday. I'm excited because today is my first instrument lesson. I've got my foggles so that I can't see out the window. I can only see the instruments, which is going to be so fun. But also, like, winds 10, 15, gusting to 20. That's going to be fun. That'll be a lot of fun. So I'm excited to do a little instrument flying today. Anyway, that's just me on my own, like, what am I doing today? But look at the day. Average high is 84. We'll do 84 in Orlando, 83 in Leesburg, 82 in Titusville. You've really got to love this overall forecast picture, right? No matter where you are, there you go. Let's dial up our Futurecast model, see what it's showing for today. If I could find it, here it is. All right, so clearly doing a great job of indicating those little showers that we're tracking this morning. Nothing too bad. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, a little drier perhaps, and then we'll get into a couple more showers, 2, 3 o'clock through the metro. I think it's safe to say that, like, our afternoon thunderstorm regime, pretty much done and over with, right? Like, you don't see any of those big, vibrant yellows and oranges and reds, so I think we're doing pretty okay. right? Let's look at the big perspective, get an idea of what's going on nationally. We've got that fall weather pattern taking shape. So first off, big ridge of high pressure just dominating the eastern seaboard. Big bubble of no trouble there, right? Little storm system trying to get going out over the mountains. Little winter precipitation sneaking into Denver, perhaps. Little cold front starting to get fired up, but even this one here in the Pacific Northwest is kind of weakening. So, at least in terms of broad strokes, there's not a ton of energy to get cold fronts moving into our area. And without cold fronts, the word warm starts showing up, right? So it's beautiful, but it's warmer than it was. Fall in Central Florida is essentially where we're at. Let me just rewind this because you may have missed it. All right, so this is our surface map. Did I not go far enough? There's Tuesday. Watch north of us on Wednesday. Cold front starts coming. Watch though. Wave. Bye, 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 bye. Yeah, it goes bye bye. Doesn't make it here. And so, because of that, our temperatures are going to be climbing little bit by little bit. We do not get that beautiful opportunity to get a cold front. So, yeah, highs in the mid 80s into this weekend. Morning lows. Now, the morning lows are, at least as the winds start to calm just a little bit, our morning lows are going to be able to come down a little bit. Normal low is 65. We'll get a little closer to there late week this weekend. But in the meantime, yeah, daytime highs right about where they should be. It's lovely. But yeah, it is what it is. So that's our 7-day forecast. Winnie says, hope all goes well with your instrument training. My son just completed his pilot school. Very fun. Very fun. Janice, thank you very much. Very excited. Very excited. Can't see a darn thing outside, so that'll be fun in a very different way, but I'm super excited about it. I love Big Bubble and No Trouble. It just reminds me of good old Rob, 20 years ago, Rob. Oh man. Good morning. Hope a great start to this Monday morning. I love it. As long as the dew point goes down, I'm happy, Chris says. It will a little bit, not a ton. Rich, you're cruising next month. I wish I was cruising next month. We've got some nice weather. Next month will look gorgeous. Yeah. All right. So, at least with dry air, we'll be able to not exacerbate the issues in terms of our river levels. This is a significant concern. Still at major flooding levels for Astor and DeLand. Those have come down. It was like 4.83 for Astor, for example. 4.83 was the peak. 4.7 feet, if I recall, was the peak for Ian, which was like mind-numbingly high. We beat it with Milton, which is wild. So still major flood stage there, still major flood stage in DeLand. We have calmed down just a little bit at Sanford and Lake Harney. And little bit by little bit, we will continue to come down. It's a slow go. So for those folks that are impacted by the flooding along the St. John's, it's a slow go. Yeah, it's a slow go. All right. All right. So at least we're not making things worse in the rainfall department. Now, looking at the Starlink forecast, okay, with low rain chances, the good news is we're looking fairly good here as well. Feeling that wind, though, that's going to be the only concern, at least for launch. I mean, clouds, sure, but feeling that wind. So we'll see how it plays out. Michelle, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. When you first said instrument training, I thought for a half second you picked up the guitar. No, 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 no. It's the foggles where you can't see straight. You just kind of you see the instruments. You don't see out the window. That's what I mean. Victoria says DeLand is still rough to get around. Thankfully, the city has done a great job of pumping water away to reopen the roads. We had a massive rain event with Hurricane Milton. We had a massive wind event with Hurricane Milton. But yeah, that's going to take some time. So there you go. Deb says, I don't get the wind issue with the rocket. It travels way faster than the wind. You've got to understand, it's those first critical seconds, though. if it lifts off, if it's unchained, it lifts off, and then the winds blow it into the pad, that's a problem. It's the first minute, you know, that you're expelling so much effort just to slip the surly bonds of Earth. And if it blows it to the pad, if the rocket has to tilt more into the wind, you're using more fuel, you're adjusting your angle of attack. All of those things change. And so that's where liftoff winds play in. And just to give you an idea, so for today, for example, liftoff winds are a concern. Here's the launch constraints. Here's the launch constraints for the Falcon 9, okay? The official launch constraints for the Falcon 9 show pad winds of 30 miles an hour. I mean, if it's over 30, that's a significant wind, and that would cause the rocket to have to tilt. So that's why the launch criteria is what it is. More than 30, and it's all about trajectories, right? Fuel burn, trajectory, the angle of it, because if you're having a tilt like this, you're not going up as much or dialing into the wind. So there's all these I'm not saying it's the aliens. No, it's physics, that's what it basically is. So, yeah. All right. So anyway, that's where that plays in. Oh, Janice, thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, boy. Chris says, when's the first frost in Florida? There's sometimes that it's late. So anyway, what time is the lunch going to happen? I don't know. I'll probably have lunch about 12 o'clock. Oh, you mean launch. Launch. Tonight, 6:40 p.m. Launch. But have lunch about noon. Does that work? All right. Questions about our local forecast whatsoever? Questions, comments, concerns, anything? Otherwise, we can get right into the tropics. Lots to talk about, certainly, in the tropics. Lots to talk about, which I hate. Okay, so over the weekend, let's just get caught up. And I talked about this on Coffee Talk yesterday, but for those of you that missed it, over the weekend, ironically, the same day, we had two systems named. We had Nadine, became a tropical storm, and then we had Oscar, became a Category 1 hurricane. Now, remember all those people that are like, Nadine's coming to Florida, it's going to get us a week after Milton. Sure didn't do that. Told you it wouldn't. Let's see how this ages. Aged pretty well, didn't it? Nadine has since moved across. As a matter of fact, here's the data on Nadine. The moisture of Nadine crossing away, the banner's clear. It's not even not a problem at all. It's out in the Pacific Basin. It probably will try to blow back up and become a thing. But anyway, so that was Nadine. All right, Oscar was, at least at some points, the smallest hurricane that we have ever recorded in the HURRDAT 2 database, with a 5-mile hurricane force wind region. Interesting. So there's that. I would add that for those of you asking, Kristen's asking, was Milton part of the new pattern? I don't know. It's going to be early for that because that was right on the overlap. Oscar's a part of the new pattern. I would suspect that the Caribbean's gonna see some hits next year. Okay. Chris says WESH 2 should win the weather report for 2024. Is there an award? I know our 7-day forecast is consistently Central Florida's most accurate. That one works for me. Anyway, all right. So there's Oscar. Tropical storm now. Winds are at 45 miles an hour. Forecast to continue that slow, like molasses trek to the right. Because high pressure, that big bubble of no trouble that's protecting us, sweeping it away. Going out through the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands, lifting away, will not be a threat to us, directly at least. All right. We do have tropical storm advisories posted for Cuba, for parts of the Turks, Caicos, for parts of the Bahamas. In yellow, tropical storm watch means tropical storm conditions are possible. In blue, tropical storm warnings means tropical storm conditions are expected. None of those are for Florida. But as it moves away from us, certainly it will throw, and this is kind of a decent way to put it. Look at how the winds are coming in off the ocean. As Oscar lifts to the north, it will again tighten the pressure gradient, which will keep us breezy. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as it lifts to the north, it'll actually help to tap into some cooler air, like subtly cooler air, and bring it in. But high risk of rip currents continues for Central Florida. Just look at where we're at for our surf conditions, okay? Breakers 4 to 6. This is a yesterday graphic, but it still works. Instead of tomorrow, think of it as today. Today, 4 to 6 foot seas. 4 to 6 foot breakers, 3 to 6 though the rest of the week. So it's a little bumpy out there. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. But as we talked about, right, like that big bubble of no trouble is in place for now. So there's Oscar. Watch how that big bubble of no trouble steering it away. Bye, Felicia. Not going to bother us. Now, that's in place for now. That will not be in place around Halloween, around early November. And that doesn't have me terribly happy because development chances are rising, particularly in early November. So let's look at some model data here. And again, I need you to understand that nothing I do is meant to hype anything. Nothing I do is meant to scare anybody. But there's a pretty decent signal of something trying to get going really early November. So let's look. First off, there's Oscar, tiny little area of low pressure, recurving, moving away. Bye, 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 bye. High pressure building in. Watch the Caribbean. Watching the Caribbean, pressure's lowering. According to the GFS, it gets looped around and moved out to sea, which is fine. GFS has a cold front kind of sweeping through Florida, which would protect us in that window. High pressure and then a cold front. So that's fine. All right, that's the current run of the GFS. Let's go to the European. There goes Oscar. European not picking up on a ton. The European operational not picking up on a ton. But let's look at the ensembles, and this is where things go a little differently. All right, GFS ensembles. There's Oscar, and I'll just put the low locations like all the ensembles showing it there. All right, GFS ensemble. Starting to see some members showing something in the Caribbean, right? Now, that ridge of high pressure doesn't seem to be around early November. And because of that, the idea, at least on some of these ensemble members, is that there's going to be another opportunity for an impact of some kind somewhere. Because with the dome of high pressure gone, it opens up the flow back toward the United States, perhaps. Way too early to tell. But that's the GFS ensembles. And again, I'll just rewind it. You can kind of see they don't know much. They just know that something probably wants to get bubbled. Let's go to the European ensembles. You see them waking up. So at this point, there is a consistency from run to run to run to run to run to run. I mean, it's been like days, maybe even a week of ensemble support for something bubbling up. Does it hit us? Far too early to tell. You can clearly see that there's a bunch of ensemble members showing signs of life not that far from us. Does it mean we're going to get hit with another hurricane? I don't know. At this point in time, it's too early to tell, but I would say late October, more than likely into early November. So we've got some time. But this is going to be an area of interest to watch around the Caribbean, that sort of thing. Betsy's asking, waters in the Gulf cooler for it to affect us? So let's take a look, all right? Just to give you perspective. We'll go, stop. Widen you out. Switch over to sea surface temperatures. All right. The waters in the Caribbean are still very, very warm. Gulf of Mexico, not as hot as it was, but still very, very warm. just so that you know, the litmus test for tropics, 80-degree waters. If you've got 80-degree waters or above, you can support tropical stuff. If you're in the 70s, you cannot support tropical stuff. So, the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Atlantic near us, still warm enough to support tropical stuff. Brittany says, I finally put out some decorations. Please, no more hurricanes. I agree. I put out my decorations. I've got it all outside. I'm not saying anything's going to hit us yet. I'm just saying that we're not quite done yet. And before you say, oh, well, he's just doing this for clicks and for hypes, I really don't want to deal with this crap. So just so that you all know, I don't want to deal with it. But it's my job to talk to you about things, and here we are. So as long as you know it's not my desire to deal with this, as long as you know that, we're good. Okay? So anyway, the long and short of it is that, yeah, we'll have to, the next couple of weeks, check it out and see where we're at. Okay? All right. Now, BSR has indicated there to be something kind of in the vicinity. This is one of the techniques that we use for long-range forecasting. It's basically like a teleconnection. Let's see here. I have to do some like real-time math calculations to get this to work. So that little cold front off the southeastern United States, maybe a backdoor cold front, which is it's so funny. That's the 25th, 26th. So that's Oscar. That's crazy. That's Oscar off the southeast United States coast. That's like this Thursday, Friday. So that's Oscar there on the right side, sneaking a little backdoor cold front, not really getting us cold, but helping us out. And then according to this, decent cold front coming through the 28th. So that's October 28th, decent cold front, BSR at least. And then afterward, you've kind of got all these little lows here. That's where it gets a little garbled. That's November 2nd, BSR showing something near South Florida around November 2nd. A bunch of lows around that time, but November 2nd. And then there's another low there. That's November 7th. Oh, Gewalt. So that makes things a little interesting. Early November, there's a lot of signals of areas of low pressure, which is why, again, just all things considered, this is an area of interest that we'll have to watch. Okay? All right. Let's go even further. There's just, what is that? That's that area of low pressure. Aren't you interesting? That'd be like November 14th. Little storm system in the Gulf of Mexico, perhaps. Cold front sweeps us right through. Oh, baby. That's a nice cold front. That's a nice cold front. That's a sloppy cold front there. What is that? That's November 22nd. That's like a storm system. That's going to be a sloppy pattern. And if that plays out that way, that would be interesting for our long range forecasting too. Because around what I say, like the 21st, 22nd of November, that'd be a Gulf storm. That would be an indicator for tropical activity. Let's just hope that that doesn't play out that way. But November 21st, 22nd. So anyway, we've got cold fronts coming. It's clear as day there, but more initially, it's also fairly clear that we've got an area of interest that we're going to have to watch tropically. Bob says weather's amazing. Weather's amazing. And I'm using weather in the Bering Strait to kind of get a clue of what's happening here the next couple of weeks. That's even crazier. And it's not perfect, but it gives us hints. It's a little teleconnection of sorts, which is, it's just crazy. So anyway, November could get interesting with cold fronts, but also like early to mid-November, fairly active weather for us. So there's that. Hurricane season, thinking of pulling a Nicole out of the hat this year. I hope not, Cindy. Jesse's asking, will they retire the name Milton? You know, I don't know. It's not up to me, but it's perhaps. I love your excitement when you see a cold front. Listen, there's few things that I'll hype, but I'll hype the snot out of a cold front all day long. In all kinds of weather, we stick together for Florida. It's true. It's true. Are all the cold fronts going to bring those temps down in the Gulf waters? Yes, but it takes time. So that's our struggle. Mr. Bob, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. We will accept that hype. Yeah. Yeah. So in the meantime, there's that little backdoor front action that we saw in the BSR as Oscar pulls up, dropping those temperatures just a little bit. Things Eric hypes. Cold fronts and Wesh's radar. You darn right, baby. You darn right. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, anything at all? Anything? We looking good? Yeah? All right. That's all I got for you. I'm going to go put some shoes on and I'm going to go put my foggles on. That way I don't see out the front. All right, baby. Sound good? I'm happy. I'm happy. All right. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you all later. Tomorrow morning, sound good? I think I'm doing the noon and 4 tomorrow. Checking. Stand by. Stand by. Stand by. What am I doing tomorrow? Ba, 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 ba. Oh, I'm not even on TV tomorrow. I like that. All right. Be good, you all. Take care. Talk to you later.